Good evening, everybody. We got here a 1v1 between two top-level players who have been in the game for quite a while. Dogao, well over a decade, and Barles sitting around 1 decade since he's been taking control of the scene. Both are top 10 players, and both are capable of beating almost any player in the world at this point in time. So let's get right into it. In the red, we do have Dogao, and he is playing as the Burmese, so little bit of a different civilization pick. Obviously, these guys were going for random civilizations, and that's why they got that. And then his enemy's going to be in the blue. Barles playing as the Celts. So Celts, they do have that big advantage with their wood chopping, and they are a pretty strong civilization if we get into the late game. Not sure if that will get this far to really use their siege to their strength, but you never know, it could. When we look at the Burmese, obviously a fast castle is always a little bit strong when it comes to them. A castle drop is great. If he could be collecting this stone, that's always a good sign too. So let's take a look at the possible wall potential with the maps that they do have. So we see here Dogao pretty open on the front, really open as a matter of fact. This is a sort of map where even with those forward berries, he's got forward gold. This is an extremely open map, and that just makes it so much harder. So he's gonna probably want to wall into his town center, but even with that, it's gonna be tough. I mean, that big wall to the edge of the map, and then just wide open on the front with all of his golds forward, and his forage bush forward as well. That's tough, especially when we take a look at the Celt map right now. So nice little enclave with this wood. Easy wall off here, a bit open to the southwest, but again, if we decide to just wall straight into the town center, that should make it all right. The gold is sort of off to the side to the back, so not quite as bad, but still not ideal. But there are those backberries that are fantastic when we take a look at later game play. Players are now going forward, and as you can see here, bit of a forward wall off that's starting with Dogao. He's going to get this boar probably with this villager once the houses are done. But if we take a look at what can be seen by Barles, Barles is able to see that the town center's in here somewhere. He sees that house. He sees that lone piece of wood, and now he sees the lumber camp. So that's really good scouting on his part. When we take a look at the scouting of Dogao, not quite there yet. Of course, doesn't know where the relics are, but we'll see how important that is as we continue on. But this is a big, big thing. So Barles does choose to send the sheep into his friend's base. So that's a nice move there. And Dogao says thank you, because that could make or break it. And for a game that's just among two friends playing friendlies, not necessarily. And there you go, Dogao says, you're a good friend, my friend. So what can we expect out of these two players? Well, like I said before, I would love to see a faster castle from the Burmese player. We'll see now that they're starting to get up to the next stages. We see a barracks coming up for the Celt player. Of course, the Celts, very, very strong infantry. And will this be spotted? It looks like it will. And yes, yes, it is. So the scout does see the barracks, and he hits that house just to make a point, saying, yeah, I know what you're doing. And so with that move, we will probably see a little bit of a Dark Age rush, and we see already that Dogao is going up to the next stage, so unlikely that we will be seeing a fast castle. Likely we'll see some sort of archer play, want to get defense up and out as soon as possible. But of course, both players are on the way up to the next age now, just with a one villager lead going into the feudal age for Barles. So Barles, with that nice little wall off, he is pretty safe at home. Of course, wide open on this side, but it will be time before the enemy starts coming in. And as a response, Dogao has decided to just do little walls here and there, and just make sure that he's collecting up enough so that he can be building the military buildings that he needs. And the scout is getting a little bit of damage, but unable to do too much. He's going to want to run away shortly, as the scout for Barles is in on the other side, and man-at-arms will be coming in. Right now we do just have militia, but we'll see what sort of damage can be done, as there's already a barracks coming up. Archery range is being dropped, so the fact that Dogao went for the feudal age a little bit faster is looking like it's going to pay off, because he will have archers on the field in defense, and there's nothing as of yet. There we go. Archery range just being built right now for Barles. So Dogao will have his archers on the field. He does have these 2 villagers collecting up gold, and we'll just repair these palisade walls as they get attacked little by little. Likely won't lose any of these villagers, but you never know. Could see something sloppy come out, as the first archer will be out right off the bat. And Barles going for the wood chopping upgrade right away, so really want to double down on that advantage that the Celts do have. And instead, Dogao gets the first farm upgrade, horse collar. And so here we go. We see an archer forward. We'll see if he goes out and tries to attack at all, as the archers for Barles are coming forward. And the wall off is complete on this right side, so he's in a good spot, but he still needs to wall this left and bottom side of his base, as the archers will be coming forward eventually. Still collecting up some food here and there, as a stable is now coming up for the Burmese player. And so once we see the stable up, we will see some scouts coming out, and this scout just causing a little bit of havoc. But the scouts will be great should there be any skirmishers from the enemy. And sloppy play there. Don't want to be losing that scout for Dogao, and Dogao does run away in time, as the wall off is huge here, and that's been the case for quite a while. I've been talking about how this is not that great of a map. Big wall that's required. He does save this villager, but that is a partially built house over there, so it does open him up a little bit for housing, but he seems to be quite alright. And they're just circling around and around and around with these archers coming out. See if there can be any damage done to the militia. Now that there are 4 archers on the field, we'll see exactly what comes down. If we take a look at the map, the scouting is definitely good for both of them, but I would say a little bit better for Dogao. The only issue is there's now 3 archers coming around in response, and these militia don't really care. They're just trying to distract. As the archers are coming forward, 1 archer dead. The gold has to be evacuated, and this wood line as well. This is a big deal early in the game, but luckily there's 2 scouts out, and those 2 scouts will be able to clean up really well. So great play there in response. There is fletching already in for the Celt archers, so that will give them a little bit of an advantage for range and attack. He might even be able to take down 1 more archer. There we go. He takes out 1 more, but now the advantage swings back to Dogao, as he does have his army together, but there's not much he's going to be able to do once he gets over here, as the wall off is starting to go all the way over to this side, and he wants to make sure that this gold is safe. Militia able to do some damage to the villagers. Not sure if they'll get a kill here, and yes, 1 villager does go down, so the militia taking out a villager is great. And at the same time, bit of sloppy play. The scouts run right under the town center. 1 spearman is chasing after them, but 3 scouts are still strong enough to be doing some sort of damage. So we'll see what they can do here. The spearman is following, is going to try to attack where possible, but these scouts are going to try and pick off a villager. Let's see if they can do it. Spearman doesn't quite get a hit off, and the villager is safe for now, as the archers will try to corner these scouts, see if they can get the shots off that are required as the wall is starting on the west side of the map. The scouts, of course, one goes down. They're going to try and get some value and do some damage to that archer, but now they will definitely be falling to the town center fire as they have to run in close. So good quick wall there from Barles, and overall good play by both of these players to really get as much value and as much distraction going on at the same time. Both players are saving up for the next age, and we'll see what sort of stuff we can expect into the next age. No stone being collected, so we won't be seeing any of those Arumbai, but we do see that the forward's finally taken out as the scouts now trying to see a little bit more of the map for Barles and see what sort of stuff they can find. Both players right now walking around trying to get a little bit of an advantage. Barles does have the advantage for economy and for military, and so both players will be going up to the next stage. Fletching coming in now as a market is going up on the front and some extra bonus protection from some houses behind. 3 villagers on that market too. Bit of a lot. So Dogao playing a lot more open than his enemy, and this wall really going to just want to wall all the way to this wood line here, it looks like, and maybe drop a town center on this gold for some protection, but he's wide open on the backside. This villager will go down, and we'll see if there any more villagers will go down, as this is a pretty good mixed army of both archers and skirmishers, and they might even corner the enemy as they start to loop around. Both players wanting to get a good engagement here, and this is going to pay off with those skirmishers added in. The skirmishers, of course, being so strong, and immediately we see crossbows coming in, elite skirmisher coming in, and this is a great cleanup for Dogao. So he does take out that forward army, and now he's going to have the advantage. Immediately he goes with the town center forward. He wants to protect this western part of his base. And there we go. Scout is taken out. The first town center does come up here, and that town center is a town center out of necessity. He is wide open on this side, and he needs a bit of protection to protect this forward wood line. He knows he needs it, and there we go. That town center on the other side now will protect this gold and the other side of his base. So he will have safe wood, and he will be able to collect up gold as well. In the meantime, second town center now going up for the Celt player. And of course, the Celts, because they collect that wood so much faster, they just get a little bit of an advantage when it comes to their second town center and third town center. They can just get it up that much easier without as many upgrades as is required by the enemy. An opening here, I'm not sure if that is a mistake or on purpose from Dogao. It's hard to see that there was an opening there, but it might be necessary so that he can run military by his town center. This town center will make it up in time, but he might lose 1 or 2 villagers in the meantime. So the town center just goes up. Good timing for him. But that was close. That was a lot closer than it could have been, as a matter of fact. As another crossbow on this side attacking the wood line. So big advantage for Barles right now. He's got about a 9 villager lead. And so he has less town centers, but he's got a big villager lead right now. And they're pretty even when it comes to military. Of course, having some skirmishers in here is a good thing because it just allows them to engage that much better with the crossbows. But now, third town center is going up for the Celt player. And both of these players wanting to do the dance of micro back and forth. And this is fantastic play by Barles. So great job there, as they have the same upgrades, but there is the ability to get that extra little bit of range for the Burmese and a little bit more armor for the Celts. So it will kind of cancel out there, as a siege workshop is coming up for the Celt player. That's where you want to be if you are the Celts. You want to be building up your siege, because that is their biggest advantage at the end of the day, especially against something like skirmishers. You want to be sure that you have the right type of siege. No siege coming out of the siege workshop for Dogao as of yet, but we do see army starting to mass and trying to engage where possible. 5+2 and 3+2, so it's hard to move in with these skirmishers, even though they are strong against the crossbows. It's just difficult to engage. So still open, still wide open, as a matter of fact, for Dogao. So he's going to be open if there should be any Mangonels coming forward, which it looks like there might be, and that has been spotted by Dogao. So that will be a little bit of a hazard, as there's a growing advantage to how many military units Barles has on the field. We see 24-17, and these skirmishers are dying fairly quick. They're pretty weak skirmishers, so it's going to need to be a little bit of a standoff with the Mangonels. See what they can do. They do have the same range, and there is a second Mangonel coming out for both of them. So we'll see if there are any good trades for one or the other, as some crossbows and skirmishers are being cleaned up by Barles, and the 4th town center now being dropped by Barles as well. So that's a big deal, as he's attacking, he's booming. This is just the power of the Celts. Just such a strong civilization. That wood chopping bonus, it adds so much value. You can just afford so many more things with that bonus that you can't afford with any other civilization. And right now, this is the last stand, really, for Dogao. He's doing a great job with those Mangonels, so really good job picking off what he can of those crossbows and dodging with the skirmishers, and he's going to push back the enemy. Lots of weak crossbows in there. I mean, overall, just about half of the HP is gone, and more Mangonels now pushing on the front of his base. The advantage is in Barles' favor right now, but it's not over by any means. Either one of these players can take the lead, as there's now 2 armies facing off against each other, one on this side with a Mangonel for Dogao, one on this side with a Mangonel for Barles. So the Mangonel fights are becoming more and more important, and we'll see if one Mangonel can win this little battle here. Dogao doesn't look like he noticed it at first, but he does, and because he's attacking uphill, the enemy gets the win between those 2 Mangonels. So that is big. That is real big, as a monastery is coming up in response. See if that's to collect relics or for something else, as we see enough stone being collected now that we could see a castle out of either one of these 2 players pretty soon here. A couple crossbows are going to go around to the other side just to be a pain point, and might be able to take something out. And this is now 3 Mangonels on the face, so we'll see if we'll be switching to something like cavalry, which looks like that's the case. We got bloodlines coming in, and then a whole bunch of knights that will be coming as well. So knights very strong against Mangonels, of course. Mangonels also very strong against Mangonels, and see if there can be any good swaps. Not a good swap as of yet. Siege Workshop will go down eventually, actually pretty quick here. It's going to fall, and 1 Mangonel in response does not that much, as it's able to do damage but not totally take out the enemy Mangonels. And with this many crossbows, you can't be running in 1 knight at a time, so the knights are going to need to mass up a little bit, but in the meantime, it's going to be tough for him to engage, as Barles has enough stone for a castle, and that's it. Dogao calls the game. That's it. That's the power of Celts. We've all seen it. Celts can take out the enemy with those Mangonels so easily.